Hello, can you hear us?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello? Can you mute your mic? Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Councillor Diane Donaldson, and I'll be chairing this hearing of Subcommittee B of the Licensing and Public Protection Committee of Birmingham City Council. Before we start, can you all please mute your microphones for the moment in order to improve the sound quality whilst I outline the procedure. Can you also please turn off your cameras with the exception of committee members, unless you're the person speaking. This is to reduce bandwidth. Committee members will have their cameras switched on throughout the hearing. Could everyone attending today's meeting please put their mobile phones on silent and ensure they are situated in a room or environment which is free from distractions or any unnecessary noise emanating from radios, TVs, etc. Thank you for that. I'm speaking slowly and clearly so everyone can follow. It is vitally important, for what I hope are obvious reasons, that those attending the meeting and making representations are able to hear me and members of my subcommittee and officers. Any distractions brought to my attention could result in the meeting being suspended temporarily or to another date and time under the regulations for these types of meetings. I also confirm this is a public meeting and therefore being live streamed on the City Council's website in order that the general public can view it. The meeting will be webcast for live or subsequent broadcast via the Council's meeting YouTube site, details of which can be found in the agenda. And that members of the press public may record and take photographs, except where there are confidential or exempt items. Members are reminded they must declare all relevant pecuniary and other registrable interests arising from any business to be discussed at this meeting. If a disclosable pecuniary interest is declared, a member must not participate in any discussion or vote on the matter and must not remain in the room unless they have been granted a dispensation. If other registrable interests are declared, a member may speak on the matter only if members of the public are allowed to speak at the meeting, but otherwise must not take part in any discussion or vote on the matter and must not remain in the room unless they have been granted a dispensation. If it is a sensitive interest, members do not have to disclose the nature of interest, just that they have an interest. Information on the Local Government Association's Model Council Code of Conduct is set out in the link can be obtained from the officers if need be, or it can be put in the chat. This includes at Appendix 1 an interest flowchart which provides a simple guide to declaring interest at meetings. Apologies were submitted on behalf of Councillor Zafar Iqbal, and Councillor Sadak Mia was a nominated substitute member. Can I welcome you to this hearing for the application in respect of Dubai Shisha Lounge, 647 Stratford Road.
Sorry, Chair. It's all in one convenience store, the grant application.
Right.
169 Shirley Road, Acox Green, Birmingham, B277NN.
Okay, I've got Stratford Road address on my notes. Right. I'll begin with some introductions. My name is Councillor Diane Donaldson, and I'm chairing this meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee. With me are the members of the subcommittee, Councillor Sadak Mia and Adam Higgs. Also present in the meeting are the following officers: Licensing Officer Bhupendra Nandra.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon. Committee Manager Katie Townsend.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon. And Committee Lawyer Joanne Swampillai.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Good afternoon. Could I ask all parties to identify themselves, please? Firstly, the applicant, Sinanambi Sivanantharajah. Hello. I think you're on mute. We can't hear you.
I hear me. Good afternoon.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you. And those making representations?
Yeah, my name is Suresh Kanapati. I'm representing the applicant, speaking on behalf of the applicant. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Suresh. And next, those making representations, Arvind Chopra.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Could you speak up?
Good afternoon, Chair. Can you hear us?
That's better. Thank you. And could I ask if any persons?
Yes, it's Mr. Raymond from Allerton and Glaston. So as Allerton and Glaston solicitors, I'm supervising Mr. Chopra.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the clarification. I'm getting a bit of an echo, so could everyone ensure that their microphones are switched off, please? Thank you. Could I ask if any persons making representations wishes to withdraw their representations at this stage of the hearing? Take silence as a no, thank you. I will assume that all parties have read and understood the Licensing Committee's procedural rules sent out with the notice of today's hearing. Please note that given the nature of today's proceedings, I may at my discretion amend the procedural rules to reflect the fact that this meeting is taking place online. But wish to assure you all that any such amendments will not impact on the party's right to a fair hearing. We'll be using the chat function in Microsoft Teams to communicate. One of the icons on your toolbar is a speech bubble. Click the speech bubble to go into chat. If you do not have access to the chat function for any reason, please use the raise a hand function to indicate you wish to speak. That button is usually fourth from the right on the toolbar. You can also, of course, indicate verbally that you wish to speak at the appropriate time. Can you all confirm that you have access to the chat facility by typing your own name now? Officers will also type their job title. The meeting will not proceed until you all have done so. Thank you. Is that everybody, Katie?
Yes, Chair.
Thank you. Please keep this chat column open for the entire duration of the meeting in order that everyone can follow the messages being posted in the chat. If any participant has dialed in on an audio telephone rather than Microsoft Teams, please speak now to confirm that you can hear and be heard. I don't believe we have anyone dialing in this afternoon. With the exception of subcommittee members, please keep your camera off unless you're the person speaking. If there are problems with bandwidth which cause difficulties with the sound, I may, in my discretion, ask everyone to turn the cameras off in order that the meeting can proceed with everyone able to hear and be heard. Does anyone wish to make any preliminary points at this stage? If so, please indicate that you wish to raise a point by typing speak into the chat function or using the raise a hand function now. Thank you. I'll briefly outline the procedure which we'll be following at today's hearing. Firstly, the licensing officer, Bapindra Nandra, will present the report. Then the applicant will be asked to present their case. We're asking if this can be kept to approximately 20 minutes. Next, those making representations will be invited to present their case. We are asking if this can be kept to approximately 20 minutes. I can ask all parties to speak as slowly and clearly as they possibly can, because the officer is taking notes by hand for the minutes. And the meeting is also being live streamed on the City Council's website. If at any time it's somebody else's turn to speak, please mute your microphone and use the chat function to communicate if necessary. Please note that members of the subcommittee will be able to ask questions at any stage, but will try to do so at the conclusion of each presentation. Cross-examination by the applicant and those making representations will not be permitted unless the members consider it appropriate. Where questions are raised by members of the subcommittee or those present, they must signify this using the chat facility set out on the right-hand side of the screen you're viewing this meeting on. The meeting manager will alert me if I do not notice messages in the chat. I will determine verbally or in writing on the chat facility the order in which questions are dealt with. So at any point in the meeting, if you wish to speak, please type the word speak into the chat function. The meeting manager will ensure that we come to you at the appropriate moment. If at any point you cannot hear or having problems with your internet connection, please use the chat facility to alert the meeting manager. The chair will then ask the person speaking to repeat what they have just said. It is therefore important that you use a chat function as soon as you're unable to hear the person speaking. It may well be that the problem is caused by people still having their microphones or cameras on, which creates interference. So I'll remind everyone to please mute your microphones and turn off your cameras when you're not the person speaking. I would point out that occasionally it may be necessary for the subcommittee to take legal advice. At my discretion, I may ask all parties to wait in this meeting whilst members and the relevant officers withdraw to take legal advice using a separate meeting within Microsoft Teams. We will then return to the meeting and continue. Please note that if at any time the live stream being broadcast on the City Council's website fails, I will ask you all to mute your microphones and cameras and to stop speaking until the live stream is restored. If at any time this meeting goes into private session, the meeting manager will pause the live stream. Once the private part of the meeting is over, I will ask the meeting manager to confirm that the live stream has resumed before we continue. At the conclusion of the hearing, I will invite all parties to make a brief closing submission. Can I stress that no decision will be taken until all the evidence has been heard? At the decision-making stage, the members and the relevant officers will withdraw from this meeting in order to determine the decision. They will go into a separate Microsoft Teams meeting. In the event that the members need to clarify any point, you'll be telephoned by the meeting manager. The members will then make their decision. You'll be notified of the decision of the subcommittee within 5 working days. I hope that's reasonably straightforward. So with that, can I ask the licensing officer, Bapindra Nandra, to present the report, please, as slowly and clearly as you can, please.
Thank you, Chair. The applicant applied on the 23rd of September 2022 for the grant of a premises licence for all-in-one convenience store 169 Shirley Road, Acox Green, Birmingham, B27 7NN. The purpose of the report is to consider a representation that has been made in respect of an application for a premises licence which seeks to permit the sale of alcohol for consumption off the premises to operate from 6 AM until 12 midnight Monday to Sunday, with the premises to remain open to the public from 6 AM until 12 midnight Monday to Sunday. A representation has been received from other persons, which is attached at Appendix 1. The application is attached at Appendix 2, and the site location plans are attached at Appendix 3. When carrying out its licensing functions, a licensing authority must have regard to Birmingham City Council's Statement of Licensing Policy and the guidance issued by the Secretary of State under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003. The licensing authority is also required to take such steps as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. The options available to the subcommittee today are to grant the licence in accordance with the application, to reject the application, to grant the licence subject to conditions modified to such an extent as considered appropriate, exclude from the licence any of the licensable activities to which the application relates, or to refuse to specify a person in the licence as the premises supervisor. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ravinda. Would the applicant like to make their presentation now, please?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think we heard about details of the application. Chair, I think what I would like to do, I would like to give a brief details about this particular premises. This is, located, within the parade of the other retail premises in the corner, and it is a fairly large convenience store. Chair, this particular premises, Chair, also is been licensed before. The last operator obviously cancel the license or handed over the license back due to the religious reason they don't want to sell alcohol. So Sopi has been selling so many other products, Chair. I mean, it's well known to sell lots of household product, all the other grocery items and food items and all the other stuff. So now, Chair, the premises has been taken over by the applicant. He's been running nearly 6 months now. Chair, I think just to give you a little background of this applicant also, he lives in, he got a temporary home in at the moment in Birmingham. He lives close by. Also, he family home in Harrow. Chair, he's been working for Tesco, managing part of the sections for nearly 5 years. And also he's been over 5 years, he's been working another retail premises in Lewisham, a little bit far from Harrow. I mean, it's a very challenging area, that particular premises was, called Coastcutter. So he wasn't the owner, but he was managing the premises. And in terms of training the staff and doing everything else. Yeah, now, the applicant, been running this premises and he knows the area well. And one of the reasons, before even he's taken over the premises, he done some homework. So that's where he's now, moving in to live in Birmingham. So at the moment he's there for a while, So we put this application, Chair, and Chair, I think, it's fairly reasonable time. We didn't put an applicant is not put the application to open 24 hours or beyond midnight. So we put between 6 and midnight, which is the opening hours. Chair, I think it's the convenience store. This is the convenience store. It is make it convenient for people to to able to do shopping, late at night, early in the morning. And the shop is not only, they have to open early in the morning because they sell milk and other essential product also. And they got up, the parking space there, so people to come and buy coffee and all the other stuff early in the morning, they are able to do it. So that's one of the reasons the shop is opening. And the applicant is well capable, and he got another 4 staff, including him, 5 people working at the premises. And Chair, I think part of the application, we have to consider promoting the licensing objectives. And Chair, also when we are looking at the promoting the licensing objective, we have to look at the particular premises, the location, and those are appropriate. And part of the application, Chair, we were looking at, I think the objectives, I'll come to that in a few minutes, but before that, promoting the licensing objective in terms of prevention of crime and disorder. We have CCTV, incident book and staff training programs and all that. And also protection of children from harm. We have refusal book, staff training program, and Challenge 25. And yeah, those kind of things. Chair, I think, the operating schedule, we don't have to really put everything to the operating schedule in a written form as a conditions, but the applicant himself, he clean up the whole area every week, on Sundays, and any litter outside, he pick them up. Public nuisance, we are talking about a litter, and also there are 2 bins outside as well, for the public to put any bins. Yeah, in terms of other public nuisances, whether the people hanging around outside, whether there's street ringing happening is not the case, Chair. There's nothing been evidence. So we don't have to, address those which are not there, or which are not going to be there, right? And Chair, also, there are, it's not a premises is opening first time. There are other premises nearby selling alcohol. So obviously, there's nothing is being reported, any kind of crime and disorder in that area. Now, Chair, I think just coming back to these objections, Chair, we have one objection from an OOP license nearby, and I think which they put it through a solicitors. I've been reading that through, Chair, but seriously, we'll have to look at, what is relevant, to this application. That is very important. So although they raised like 23 points there, I'm just looking at the point number 22, for example, they say we feel, their feeling is the licensing objective would be compromised, if this was granted. So they wanted to refuse the applications. Well, they are here to refuse the whole applications, they are, so, and also on the point number 21, say that we feel that another outlet of for alcohol off sales next door will undermine the licensing objective for public safety, public nuisance, and increase of crime and disorder. Chair, it is clear from these 2 points that, obviously the people who is running a premises, putting these objections, and we don't, we have put, number of operating schedule, and also you hear from the applicant experience, this particular premises, is not undermining any licensing objectives, like they say, but all they're saying, comparing another premises, which we are, obviously it's been running there. So it seems to me, the objection is really coming from another, license operator or another off license. Chair, there is no public objections, and quickly going through a number of points they raised. I just wanted to summarize that, Chair, to be brief. They mentioned about the operator, operator has been running nearly, now over 6 months now. And Chair, also, the applicant have, nearly 10 years experience in the retail industry, license industry. And then they mention about a litter, something, we are already having and schedule there. The, applicant is already handling that, whether we are selling alcohol or not, Chair. And they mention about young people getting access to alcohol. Chair, also on the plan, on the premises plan, you can see the alcohol is away from the entrance, quite far from the entrance, behind the till and on the rear side of the other side of the premises. So obviously the children will come in for other product like soft drinks, on the left. When they go through the entrance on the left, there are some fridge for soft drinks. Seriously, I mean, this particular premises is luckily, there's a large space enough for them to, really separate, totally keep the alcohol away from children, and also not selling to underage. We have all the other steps in place. Chair, I think the petition was signed by a number of people, and I'm just looking at the page number 1 of the petition, and going through there. I mean, on the 5th line, there are 4, 10, 22, 3 people signed. That's like a dolphin lane, seems like 3 people came from the same premises, maybe same address. At least 2 people there come from the same address. So it seems to us, we don't know really, there's no clear why they signed this petition, why they sign it. We don't, I mean, normally, if I'm doing it, I wanted to know why. So there should be a statement on the top, then they can sign it. It's possibly the shop owner have all the customers coming in. They ask them, could you please sign this for us, sign it for us, without really knowing. Maybe there's another shop, we don't want that or whatever, they sign it, and also, I mean, I'm going through that, Chair. I mean, I want to keep it short. I'm looking at second page, number 219, the 2 people signed. And even in the last page, also, I mean, I'm just looking at the last page, number Green Lane, Greenwood Avenue. There are 3 people signed it at the same time, I mean, 2 people at the same time. Seems to me whenever the people are coming in, from, they've been getting it signed by them, but none of them are here to represent by themselves. Why they sign it, we don't know. They are not here. But it seems to me, I mean, when I say why they signed it, in terms of looking at really licensing objectives, whether they seriously, whether they seen the application or not, we don't know, probably, because even none of the public raised this. It's all done by the off license, next door. And also it's attached by the solicitors, they say yes, being attaching this. There's no, there's, so considering all of those, Chair, I think we don't see there is, I mean, there's no objection from the authorities as well, but regardless of that, Chair, there is no evidence here to the license, why the license is not being granted, that's all I would like to say, Chair. Thank you so much.
Chair, you're on mute.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Mr. Suresh. Is there any other representations the applicant wishes to make?
No, at the moment it's okay. I think whether if you want to hear from the applicant, I can get him to speak as well. But
If he wishes to do so.
Siva, would you like to come and say something about this application or your knowledge about licensing objectives or your experience? I don't know.
Yes, I'm working over 5 years in the Tesco. Also, I'm working in the Coast Guard. I have experience with the off license. I know how to follow the rules. Prevention of the crime and slaughter and the public safety. I know how to do it. Also, prevention of children from harm. I know how to deal that.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. At this point, are there any questions from members?
No questions, thank you, Chair.
No question, Chair.
Thank you. And would those making representations like to make their presentations now? Arvind Chopra.
Thank you, Chair. Hope you can you hear me? Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
So thank you for the opportunity. First, I would like to just make the Chair aware that Council recognises that in addition to the licensing objectives, it also has a duty under Section 17 of Crime and Disorder Act 1998 to do all it can reasonably to prevent crime and disorder in the borough. So when the application for licensing made, applicants are usually encouraged to provide details of operating schedules, which demonstrates how they will promote their licensing objectives. They're expected to have a knowledge of the local area, describing the steps they propose to take in order to promote the licensing objectives. They're expected to undertake inquiries about the area in which the premises are situated.
Mr. Chopra, could you just intervene a moment? Could you just speak slowly because the officers are taking notes by hand.
Sorry about that. They are expected to undertake inquiries about the area and the premises is situated to inform the content of the application. There is an expectation that they obtain sufficient information so they're able to demonstrate when setting out the steps they propose to take in order to licensing objectives that they understand. They also are expected to have an idea, have an acknowledgement about the local area and the physical environment, including crime and disorder hotspots, proximity to residential premises and proximity to areas where children may congregate, any risk posed to the local area by the applicant's proposed licensable activities. The Council will interpret nuisance as a wide issue currently in Birmingham, and especially around the Acocks Green village, especially in regards with flag posting and antisocial behaviour, which is a very common problem around the village area, which is particularly quite significant at night time, and ambient noises level are lower and residents are trying to sleep. It's very important for any applications for licensing made. They're able to manage such issues to ensure that they exit and dispersal of patrons, including loitering and smoking areas, ensuring that car parking in surrounding areas and the general noise of people coming and leaving the premises. When any such application is made for the operating schedules, they need to have an understanding of the location and the actual premises, and whether it's disproportionate impact on the residential areas, or especially sensitive areas such as nursing homes, older people accommodation, hospital, schools, childcare facilities, and places of worship. It's quite understandable that planning permission, planning regime, and licensing, they go hand in hand. And although there are separate committees who oversee the process, the council commits itself with the planning regime as closely as possible. So the use of alcohol is subject to planning control. Such use will require planning permission or must otherwise be lawful under planning legislation. In general, all premises which are subject of premise licensing application should have the benefit of planning permission for deemed permitted development. It's also very important for a premises to have well-trained staff, which is important, especially in an area where there's a school nearby. And the most important thing that it's a residential area, as we are aware. The backside and all the road around Shirley Road, it's quite a resident area. And as we are aware, residents would not want alcohol sales early in the morning, starting from 6 till late, because there's a school in near proximity, Nine Style School, as you're aware, Chair. The increased noise on the street drinking, will disturb the resident at night time and might become another source of alcohol-related problems around the local area. The main concern is that littering might arise and will increase, which is going to be a major concern for the neighborhood. As we are aware that it was a general convenience store since 2011, when the previous owners surrendered their license due to having issues with the off license. And ever since then, that store has been running as a convenience store rather than an off license. So there was no off license at that premises. And the fact that local people are aware of the store as a convenience store, not as an alcohol. So it's most likely that children and people go with their families and children to buy grocery products. And giving an off license would mean that there's an unnecessary exposure of young people for the sale of alcohol. Whereas the Cheers off license that's next door to the all-in-one off license, all-in-one convenience store is a dedicated alcohol store, which means that Cheers off license has the awareness and has the acknowledgement to restrict the admission of younger people for the sale of alcohol. So I would also would like to make you aware that our client has been running the store since 2011, when he bought this business, and has been running it as an off license. Although he was granted timings from 8:30 to 11:30, he has been running the store 10 till 10 to make sure that the residents are not disturbed by his business. And we wish to keep the residents convenience in his mind when he's running his store, and has been doing so from the past 11 years. And then I would also like to raise your awareness on Section 18 of the application, Chair, that was made by the applicant. The application does fail to provide properly and adequately describe the steps, with the key steps that are important for any licensing objectives. It does not provide the Chair with a clear objective of the business that the applicant wishes to run. A cumulative impact assessment is essentially an evidence-based tool for the council to limit the growth of licensing premises in a problem area. The applicant failed to demonstrate that granting the application will not add to the cumulative impact of the existing premises. We feel that, of course, our client has been selling alcohol, but our client has a very good acknowledgement of the local area. He knows the people around the area, and giving another outlet for alcohol sales next door will undermine the licensing objective for the public safety in the Acox Green Village area. The public nuisance would be at risk and could lead to an increase in crime and disorder, which we are already on a rise in the surrounding areas. I would also like to make the chair, as chair is aware, that there is a school in the proximity of these shops, and this could become another issue, as the school children might be entering the convenience store and could become an issue. Further, I would like to draw Chair's attention that all the surrounding shops, as the applicant raised the point that all the surrounding shops, it's a parade. However, all the shops do not operate till late night. They all fairly close at early times. So the issue is that if this premises was going to be open till late, it could increase in drug-related issues, which are already a problem around this area. And as you're aware, drugs and alcohol especially goes hand in hand. And with young children being around, it could pose a risk for the residents in the local area. I'd also like to raise Chair's attention to the petition that was made. And as the applicant said, truly that it was just a copy of signatures. There was a cover on the front of it, which states the petition in respect of the premises license in concern to all-in-one. And I would like to make the Chair aware that the residents were quite concerned about this license being granted, as this could become an issue for themselves and their children around the local area. Also, I would like to make the Chair aware about the councillor Penny Wang for the local area. She was also made aware about this situation, and she also showed her concerns in regards to this matter. However, she was not able to attend the hearing for some personal issues. But she did with our client. She did have a word with our client, and she was quite concerned that if a license is granted, it would become a raising concern for the local residents and could become an issue. And just one thing I would like to just finish off with, that there's 150 plus people who signed this petition. So of course there were concerns that's why the people were willing to sign this petition and wanted to make the chair aware about this situation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chopra. Does the applicant wish to make a closing submission?
Yeah, Chair, I think hearing from the objectors, we have heard nothing new. And what they got a license already for the shop until 11:30 PM, and we don't understand why they are concerned about we having it at midnight. Chair also, and also, you know, this particular premises, you know, you have to look at the children exposure. You know, we don't want that, but also the school children can come on this side of the shop, so the alcohol are away from you know, the front and the other product area. Chair, Chair, I think I mean, seriously, I can't hear anything that really from them to say that, you know, why this license is not, you know, shouldn't be granted. And they say there is a problem already. That means it must be related to that particular premises. But it's, I mean, as far as you know, I mean, the applicant is so happy about this area because it's a really, I mean, it's a good place and good residents, you know, and none of the residents put an objection to this shop. A number of them talked to him as well. You know, they said to them, you know, the next door people asked to sign something, they signed it. And, you know, they say the statement was there, but we can't see the statement, what the statement is saying. There's nothing clear about it. You know, why they really signed, really. I mean, obviously, you know, at the same time, 3-4 people signing it, two people, 3 people at the same time coming into the shop from the same house signing it. Why would they sign it? You know, I mean, seems like they're just signing it. Anyway, so that's what I would like to say about the petition. So considering, you know, there are more than thousands households in the vicinity, so they managed to get signed from 150 people, but we might put that down to maybe less, you know, if you're looking at the households. Anyway, that's all I like to say, Chair. I think, thank you so much for the opportunity to sum up, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Surek. And with that, I'll ask Mr. Chopra to make his closing submission, please.
Thank you, Chair, for the opportunity. I would just like to, as my closing submission, although there's only 150 residents who signed this document, but as you're aware, not everybody would come forward unless there's a problem. So, of course, the problems are arising, especially when another off license would come in an area. It could become an issue with the public nuisance, as well as public disorder and crime arising in the area. We know that not all the residents would be willing to come forward, and like I said at this point, because not everybody feel comfortable to be present at such meeting. However, when we did speak to the local residents who we know about, they showed their concerns, and I would like to draw Chair's attention that there must be a lot more residents who would be concerned with this application and with this license being granted in this local area. It could become an issue, such as especially with the school, I would like to say, which is in the vicinity of these premises. That's all I got to say, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I will now ask all parties to leave the Microsoft Teams meeting, and the members and the committee lawyer and the committee manager go into the private session while the subcommittee makes its decision. You'll be notified of the decision of the subcommittee within 5 working days. Thank you.